we invite innovators, thought leaders, and World Bank's test team leaders who are transforming agriculture and food systems using innovations and technologies. And over the last years, we have conducted over 120 webinars attended by 12,000 people globally. And previous sessions from this webinar series are available on our website, and Sunil can put up the link in the chat. So participants, you may find the link, and please, during the session, please keep your microphones on mute to prevent any background noise. And there will be a Q&A session after the presentation, so you may type in the question while the speakers are speaking, so that the questions can be addressed during the Q&A time. And speakers may also answer clarification questions directly in the chat if you wish. So after you finish, of course, your presentations. So we save some time. Usually we always run out of time. So, and yeah, and our team will collect your questions from the chat and then pass them on to the speakers or moderators or chair. Yeah, so at this point, I want to invite our global lead for digital and digital data-driven digital agriculture, and really more globally on data and innovation in agriculture and food systems, Parmesh, to open us with his opening remarks. And I'll come back to introduce the speakers. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Jihai.
Parmesh.
Thanks, Jihai. I'm getting an echo. I don't know, what should I do to change that? Sunil?
We hear you perfectly fine.
No, but I'm getting an echo. I'm getting an echo of my own voice. But I can start. I can start. You never know. WebEx platform, I have not mastered this platform yet, in spite of doing 120. Okay, welcome everyone. Let's get the ball rolling. This is a very important topic, especially smallholders all over the world still have very limited access to financial services. The data shows that the extent is 24% or 25% on credit. And then you take the payments part of it, and I'm sure Raghavan will talk about it because he did a good thing in the payments platform in both private and the national platforms in India. Then comes the other things like warehouse receipts and all that, where we have to unlock a significant amount of data to really unlock that. We feel that use of data, analytics, digital technologies, and eventually AI should change and disrupt this very incremental increase of access to financial services. Just take an example that if all smallholder farmers had a credit score based on their crop data, performance data, financial data, and stocks they have, the inventory they have. So every bank which is dealing with them would use the score to develop a credit line and would get that. Now, this is in case of SMEs and all, this is happening very rapidly. Access to credit for SMEs has increased drastically because of these ratings and scores. And we don't have the similar thing still available for smallholders. To me, savings, payments, all financial transactions could be a proxy to develop a behavioral trait of a farmer, and we should be able to finance a farmer based on that. But it's not just finance, it is counseling, it is the financial services, including insurance, and lots of market support services, which are based on how much stock you have and what you are able to sell. So somehow, I think the challenge is to really build a data platform which is converted into products and services. And I think many of the presenters today will show us how this can be done. And I hope that we are able to create a scaled up platform on that. So I think I feel that we have just cracked the surface on digital financial services in agriculture. Even in countries like India, which have a national ID like Aadhaar, have a national payments platform, we still don't have the percolation there. And in Africa, although we have very good pilots, but we don't have scaled up efforts. So today's opportunity is to learn from these innovators who have really cracked some of these problems and found very unique solutions, and to learn from them today. And thank you very much for everyone who is attending. And please join us in all this learning series, because it's a very active series, and it informs our operations also. So there are a lot of bank staff who are joining, who would learn from this and then start incorporating this in the design of the new bank operation. So there are two purposes for participants: to learn from each other, but also the bank to learn from the innovations and then incorporate that into the operations. So over to you, GI.
Thank you. Thank you, Parmesh, for this wonderful opening remarks. And at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Raghavan Venkatesan. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. He's a founder and CEO of DG3D Technologies, which is India's first integrated dairy fintech, insurtech, and marketplace platform. And he brings exceptional experience in digital financial services, having previously led the financial inclusion vertical at NPCI, where he co-created the world's first interoperable biometric payment platforms. As a founding member of IDFC Bank, he spearheaded the rural banking franchise and conceptualized the award-winning DPEC. And DG3D's innovative work has earned recognition from Forbes Asia's 100 to Watch and won prestigious awards from ET, NASCOM, and Startup Mahakumbh. Impressive, Raghavan. The floor is yours to share how DG3D is transforming dairy farming through digital finance.
Thank you, Jihai. I hope I have pronounced your name properly. Um, uh, you know, I'm speaking from Navi Mumbai, India. So good evening to all, one and all. Thank you, World Bank, and thank you to this wonderful platform to exchange ideas on various startups. And I never knew about this 120 odd session. Must be a wealth of knowledge. And for a change, Parmesh, now I will go beyond payments. Payments has been definitely one of the forte, but today I will be presenting more on how we have been able to, take the advantage of the digital footprint of the farmer and convert that into cash flow based financing and related insurance opportunities, which is what is the bedrock for DGV. So before I move into my presentation, I'll just give you a 2 minutes high level idea of what we do. I started my entrepreneurial career in 2019 after I quit a large bank, a large private sector bank, IDFC Bank, which I was one of the founding members. And prior to that, I worked with NPCI, which created the entire retail payment infrastructure for India. Many of the railroads today are helping number of startups reap the entire digital dividend in a very big way. We call it DGV. The company's name is DG Vriddhi Technologies Private Limited. And It's basically a startup which is hyper focused on the dairy ecosystem in India, and we act as a conduit between BFSI and the dairy ecosystem in India. And whatever financial services, insurance, anything in the BFSI for a dairy farmer and a dairy micro enterprise is what we hyper specialize in. And towards that, we have created a full spectrum of platforms. And with that background, I will start my presentation. Yeah, I hope this is visible. Can you all see the slide?
Yes, we can see the slide. Please proceed.
So DGV is a full stack dairy fintech, dairy insurtech, and a marketplace all rolled into one. DGV started its journey by digitizing the payments to dairy farmers. So typically in India, dairy comes in three formats. Dairy is organized in the cooperative side. Dairy is also present on the private sector dairy processors, as well as it's in the format of the farmer producer companies in India. And typically in all the three formats, the payments to the dairy farmers is something which has been a problem since quite a bit of time, and that's what DGV Pay addresses. So DGV Pay is a B2B2F model where we help a dairy processor pay its milk collection point and from the milk collection point to the farmer through a complete payments platform, as well as it allows for the dairy farmer to access banking at the same point where they pour the milk using the NPCI retail payments railroads through usage of a micro ATM. DGV Money is a full-blown dairy-focused loan origination system on which banks along with us are able to create dairy-specific financial products of various kinds to address the various needs of the dairy farmer or a dairy micro enterprise. DGV Digital Insurance allows for grading of the animal using AI and machine learning as to how, when the animal needs to be bought, whether it's a healthy animal, to what level is the fair price, and also allows for a very deep tech to understand and allow for the insurance underwriting to take place digitally. DGV Connect is an app where farmers can go and list animals or buy animals. It is a marketplace where you can find India's top breeders of various bovines. And we also now provide this technology as a SaaS platform to both banks and insurance companies in India, which is what DGV SaaS is all about. So why we chose dairy as a key vertical to go after? In India, nearly 30% of our agri GDP is contributed singularly by dairy. And that's why it's not a surprise that India is the largest producer and consumer of milk and milk products. We have nearly 300 million bovine, and we are seeing that if the farmer's income needs to be doubled, then the most important segment to focus on is dairy. And traditionally, even though it was quite obvious that dairy is a large market, financial institutions didn't know how to address this especially the small and marginal farmer. And in India, we have 40% of credit, which is mandated by the central bank to be provided as priority sector loans. And banks struggle to cater to this PSL portfolio, especially the small and marginal farmer. DGV has been able to create this platform by allowing banks to address this small and marginal farmers in a very elegant and a data centric way. So DGV works on one hand with all the prominent dairy processors, and on the other side works with all leading banks, leading insurance companies, as well as the regulator, Reserve Bank of India, in some format. So typically, when we started the entire journey of hyper specializing on dairy, we figured out that when we approached a dairy processor, or when we approached a bank on this idea, the first thing which came to their mind is a cattle loan. And typically, how a lender, a financial institution would see this is that one unit, one cow is equal to 50,000 rupees, one buffalo is equal to 60,000 rupees. And that's how they had structured the financial product. The dairy processor used to wonder that so much of capital is being infused in their catchment area in terms of priority sector lending, but their procurement in terms of milk procurement was not gaining traction. So how come that when banks are financing farmers for purchase of bovines, the milk procurement is not going up? So DGB addresses all these gaps in the ecosystem. For the lender, we kind of explain to them that if a farmer wants to purchase a high quality bovine, it's not going to come at 50,000 rupees, it's going to come at 1 lakh rupees. And if you are giving only 50,000, then the tendency to not buy a bovine or to buy a very inferior quality bovine comes in. For the dairy processor, we solved the problem that only a bovine will come in into your catchment area of a certain high quality. So we kind of address the gaps of both the processors and the lenders through our platform. Now, when you think of lenders, like I explained, their thinking is one unit is equal to this much. And to solve that problem, we innovated on the marketplace, which is called DGV Connect. And we encourage top breeders in India. We have a variety of breeds in India, both on the cow and the buffalo kind, and it varies from state to state. So we encourage top breeders to come and list on our platform and ask for the desired price. And we convinced banks that since we are ensuring the 100% loan end-use check, you allow for a market-linked loan, which means that 85% of the market-linked price will get financed, just like today it happens in the housing market in India. When we go to purchase a flat, so we usually look at the market price, and towards that we take 85% of the financing. So similarly, we had arrived to a position where we had pretty much solved for the financing of the bovine, but we figured out very soon that we could not disburse the amount to the farmer unless we innovated on the insurance side for the animal as well, because that was still following a very traditional approach of a, a paravet going down and tagging the animal on the ear. And for the insurance industry, one of the key concerns was the frauds around the cattle insurance, as to whether the bovine, which was earlier presented for insurance, is the same one coming for claim as well. So DGV, over the period of years, has now become a holding company with having a separate subsidiary of insurance, a separate subsidiary on marketplace, and very soon We are also going to apply for our NBFC license. The DGV Money platform, we have thought through various asset classes which this target audience needs. Like say, for example, digital bovine loan is towards purchase of a new bovine, which is sourced through the marketplace of DGV Connect. And before the disbursement happens, will get insured using the deep tech of digital DGV digital insurance. A dairy maintenance loan is towards the upkeep of the animal. A dairy equipment loan is towards mechanizing the small and marginal farmers' operations at the dairy unit. Similarly, other asset classes, including one which we are working on, how we can take the small and marginal farmer from a 3 to 4 bovine unit to a 25 bovine unit and towards commercial dairy farming. So we have been very hyper focused on this mass market, and being a banker, being an ex-banker, we clearly realize that if we try to do too many profiles, we won't be able to do justice. So that's why we said that we will do dairies large enough in India, and that's why we went vertically on this. These are some of the glimpses of how our marketplace looks, which is called DGV Connect. It's there on the Android Play Store. So here you can find the top breeders of India listing their bovines. You can go actually and see at what lactation period the animal is. You can see a complete 360 degrees view. And then if you select the animal here, we can generate a QR code which gets embedded in the DGV Money loan origination system platform. The way we work is that we have a phygital feet on street. We integrate with the dairy processors, ERP system to extract the digital footprint of the farmer. We create the scorecard of the farmer and orchestrate a very, very detailed workflow on DGV Money loan origination system, which talks to banks directly on their core banking or the loan management system. Now we have also integrated on the Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub, which is one of the subsidiaries of our central bank, where they have launched something which is called the ULI platform, Unified Lending Interface. Just like in India today, UPI is very famous, where you're able to make the payments using the QR code and using a bank account, keeping your money in a bank account. Similarly, the ULI Unified Lending Interface allows you to do a host of activities, especially on the credit side. The DGV Digital Insurance has solved for the uniqueness of the animal, just like we have created a digital ID in India. We have created a digital ID for the animal using muzzle technology, a very extensive deep tech on grading, and resulting into a health certificate. These are some of the partners which we have across top banks, in the regulators and the dairy partners and the OEMs. This is the ULI platform which I spoke of. When I get a chance next time, I'll speak about how ULI is the next UPI movement in credit. Some of the aspects of how we have been able to leverage the digital footprint of the dairy farmer to do unsecured cash flow based lending using our tech. And now our aspiration is to go across the country, integrate with every dairy processor and host of banks who are interested to cater to this idea. We are not yet an NBFC, and we help build the book for the bank, and we help them on the insurance side as well. These are some of the accolades which already has been spoken of. And with that, I end my presentation. I'll be happy to take questions.
Thank you so much for this insightful presentation. For me, I have tons of questions for you. Maybe I will put them on the chat for you also. Please, participants, feel free to use the chat line to ask directly to Ragavan. Now, let me introduce our next speaker, Kizito Odhiambo, founder and CEO of Agribora, with over a decade of experience, in agriculture and technology. Kizito previously collaborated with over 1,000 smallholder soybean farmers in Kenya to develop a sustainable soybean value chain. And his innovations have earned global recognition from the World Food Programme, European Space Agency, and VivaTech. And as winner of both the 2022 Africa Earth Observation Challenge and the Digital Earth Africa Industry Challenge, he brings unique insights on technology-driven agriculture transformation. So Kizito, we're eager to hear about Agribora's approach. The floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Let me first make sure I can share my screen to begin. Good. I hope this is visible for all.
Yes, it is, Kizito. Please proceed.
Great. Greetings to all. Thank you very much for having me today. It's a pleasure to be able to share our experience in Kenya around the agriculture space and linking smallholder farmers to finance. I think one thing that Pamesh mentioned earlier around the credit score being one of the critical enablers to how smallholder farmers then get that visibility and access to finance to then be able to produce more has remained a critical challenge that has driven how we at Agribora have innovated around what technology can do. And that has been my experience that I'm happy to share and also hear and interact with you today on. I would like to briefly talk about what we do at Agribora and how we stand out and what are the learnings that we have experienced so far. We are a B2B2C platform, enabling smallholder farmers to access inputs and output markets. And so Agribora sits really as a digital intermediary supporting small businesses in the communities to access the inputs from manufacturers to bring them to the local small shops that we call agri-hubs. These are independent businesses in rural communities that get their input inventory through Agribora. And we have managed to leverage them at the end of the season to become aggregators because of the trust relationships that they already have within the community. So why will you as an agri-hub only sell seed and fertilizer to farmers and wait for the next season to sell the next seed? Why not support these smallholder farmers to access the market? So we have been able to build a platform that brings this together, leveraging on the trust relationships that are within the market, within the communities. And so the problem that we are trying to solve for is really the problem of financial inclusion for smallholder farmers and market access, because these are the critical challenges that make it very difficult to achieve financial food security, looking at the climate impact because we are dependent on rain-fed agriculture, and then the financial exclusion that is limiting most of these smallholder farmers from being able to invest in their own farms and at scale. So we are not able to feed ourselves, we are not able to feed the continent, we are not able to feed the world, and we have everything that could actually help us achieve that. And then also looking at the post-harvest losses that come with that. So we are not only able to feed ourselves, we are also having over 40% in post-harvest losses, contributing to that food insecurity across the country, but also across the continent. So our solution to this huge problem is also a solution that can address all the multiple areas of intervention. we support these small businesses in the local communities through our technology. First of all, through a point of sale technology that basically augments the informal transactions that happen today. Smallholder farmers accessing seed and fertilizer, not leaving behind a digital transaction history that can help really build that transaction and credit score that they require. And by providing these businesses a platform to digitize their transactions very seamlessly, we have been able to now build with local banks a lending opportunity through what we call Agri-Copper, which is a credit recommendation service, where we see our role as a tech enabler basically being there to provide banks with visibility and intelligence about smallholder farmers and what they're producing, and enabling them to basically have better lead generation and then earmarked disbursement. So earmarked disbursement means that the bank provides the finance and the finance can only be spent at that local agri-hub that has been building the trust with the farmer and has been doing business with them. Beyond that, when it comes to the market access, we have what we call Agri-Gala, which I'm going to talk to you about in a moment, that basically is looking at structuring commodity trading and democratizing that access to markets and reducing post-harvest losses, because we are selling always at the time when we have harvested, and that is when the prices are poorest. And what supports our ability to do this is really data, and looking at how data from Earth observation data to transactional data, leveraging AI, can be able to help us identify the nuances in the insights that we have to provide information for not only the farmers, but also the banks and the off-takers. So very briefly, Agri-Gala, what is that? And this is what I want to focus on when we talk about warehouse receipting system. So we are proud to be the first gazetted private warehouse operator in Kenya that is enabling smallholder farmers to basically store their crop in anticipation of better prices in the market after the season ends. So today, a smallholder farmer is forced to sell at very low prices in the market because they do not have storage and they have immediate cash needs for school fees, for replanting and other family needs. Agri-Gala is a solution that helps these smallholder farmers to store their product at licensed warehouses, pay a minimal storage fee, and basically wait for the prices to improve, and giving them back the dignity to have the decision making over their produce that they have worked hard to produce. And so how does this work? Basically, it is a nascent service. That is why we are happy to be a leader in this space. We create awareness among smallholder farmers about storage. And this again goes back to the trust that they already have with the agri-hubs, where they have been purchasing their inputs through the season. We are able to then visit their farms and collect the product that they have already produced, take a sample, have it quality assessed, and then we are able to collect the product and bring it to the warehouse, where we do another round of bulk quality control. Then we rebag the commodities into gunny bags that can enable us to improve the shelf life and maintain the quality. And then we issue them with a warehouse receipt, which has become a very powerful document, which can be equated to a title deed, because now a farmer can walk out of our warehouse with a warehouse receipt that they can show a bank, and they're able to receive financing against this warehouse receipt. So really unlocking how we think about financial inclusion for farmers, not only looking at the digital transaction history that they have or they do not have, which most of the time they still have to build, but really meeting them where they say, I have produced this today and I qualify to get financing for this, with or without a digital transaction history. And we feel that this is going to be a very powerful tool to actually support smallholder farmers access finance by leveraging that they have already done, the sweat of their hands. And for us as Agribora, it is not just about providing the storage services. It is really about providing price intelligence, knowing where the market is, what are the current trends in the market, and then working towards becoming a price setter where you are able to basically balance out the fluctuations in the market. Why? Because you have different customers that are basically looking at structured commodity trading as their preferred way of accessing raw materials, and can also provide them with a better overview of an evergreen supply chain for their own raw material procurement. And this is where we see a very huge opportunity to unlock the potential of commodity-backed financing. We have had conversations with banks where we see their limited penetration in these rural areas. We have seen the challenge of actually being very fast in picking up the innovation and being the front runners with this. We have seen the microfinance institutions and informal lenders who are providing financial services to businesses and to farmers, but we have hardly seen commodity tokenization, commodity-backed financing that has really grown at scale, at least for Kenya. And that is where we are really excited, because we see that warehouse receipt system and financing has now come of age in Kenya to be able to also learn from the experiences that we have seen across other markets such as India, South Africa, Tanzania, to be able to provide services to these smallholder farmers and unlock that capital, potentially also leveraging on technologies such as blockchain that can also enhance the trust, so that we move beyond the formal lending processes through banks and basically unlock opportunities for the international ecosystem to be able to participate. So finally, when we look at the story of Agribora and our vision of basically making Africa the powerhouse of agriculture, our journey has begun through Agri-Tech and providing technology for farm and farmer management, giving us the initial exposure to learn about the challenges that smallholder farmers face and also the other value chain actors. Today, we have a strong and thriving platform where we buy inputs and sell to agri-hubs, and where we buy outputs and sell to our offtake clients. But we want to move further and make sure that we have the fuel for this ecosystem by incorporating financial services with the support of banks, and also bringing in the fintech component that for us is also very close. And in the end of it all, our target is to make sure that we can be that de facto network for different partners to actually use this platform and ecosystem for structured commodity trading, and also enabling farmers to have the right investments for their fields. And I hope that this gives you an insight around where we are in Kenya, driving access to finance through commodity-backed lending. We are still at the very beginning, and the journey is exciting. So we are keen to have conversations with partners, with friends who can be able to help us basically scale this opportunity beyond Kenya and help access to finance to become something that every farmer is able to access. Thank you very much. I look forward to the discussion and interaction with the session.
Thank you so much, Kizito. What an insightful presentation, and what a smart idea to leverage the small stores as the aggregation hub. Why didn't we think about that earlier, right? So next, I'm delighted to introduce Vaishali Garia, Sales Executive at Whirl. Vaishali has been instrumental in driving business growth and building strategic partnerships in the fintech space. Her expertise lies in bridging financial innovation with market needs, positioning cutting-edge solutions for scale and impact. She has an MBA and HR and marketing experience in fintech and blockchain, and she brings valuable perspective on the technological frontiers of agriculture finance. So, Vaishali, we look forward to hearing your insights. The floor is yours.
Hi, I'm Vishali. I'm representing World today. Thank you for having me. So I'm here on behalf of World today as my founder is attending a Sankalp Africa Summit, so he was not able to present. So I'm honored to be here today to talk about how World is transforming agriculture finance through blockchain. So across emerging markets, farmers struggle with limited access to credit, post-harvest losses, and distressed sales. Not because they lack produce, but because they lack liquidity at the right time. These challenges are well known, but today I'll be talking about how technology and blockchain can solve them efficiently, making the financial ecosystem more transparent, faster, and secure. With that, I'll be sharing my screen. I hope my presentation is visible. If you can confirm. Okay, thank you. So before we dive into the solution, let me introduce Whirl, a global leader in blockchain-based commodity finance. Whirl is recognized as APAC's first blockchain platform for asset-backed lending and world's largest blockchain-powered commodity financing platform. We are already live across India and we have tokenized over $750 million worth of commodities, secured $150 million credit line, and managed 200 million metrics of warehousing capacity across 1,500 godowns. Our strong global network includes partners like World Bank, MasterCard, DBS, our warehousing partner MSWC, along with top financial institutions such as Indian Bank, Union Bank of India, etc. So we have two main products, tokenized crop receipt and tokenized WHR finance. As Agribora also described something about the warehouse receipt. So we are also providing the warehouse receipt finance, but on blockchain. So I'll be building on that. And our presence spans across India, USA, Kazakhstan, South Africa, and Southeast Asia. And we have won multiple awards, including National Startups Award, FinTech India Award, and many others on the screen. We have a great team of CA software engineers, and we have our co-founder Ashish Anand, who is a CA by his profession, and Falguni Pandit, who has IT experience, and Ashish Gelawat, who is head of engineering, and Dhaval Parmar, who is the senior blockchain engineer. So one of the biggest challenges that farmers face is distress sales due to a lack of liquidity at harvest time. And warehouse receipt finance comes into the play where it was supposed to solve this problem by allowing farmers to store the crop and access loan instead of selling at low prices. But however, the traditional system has major flaws as like high intermediary cost, fraud risk. The processes are very slow because it is manual and it delays the loans, leaving farmers vulnerable again. So this is where we step in. This is where World steps in, and we have built a fully digital blockchain-powered lending ecosystem that connects farmers, warehouses, lenders, and buyers seamlessly on one platform. Our platform has three components: tokenization engine that converts the stored crop receipt into digital assets on blockchain, digital lending system that enables instant loan against the stored commodities, and e-trading platform that allows farmers to sell crop digitally at better prices without intervention of middlemen. So let's look at how the system works. So farmers deposit their crops at warehouses using World's mobile app, and the warehouse issues a digital warehouse receipt for real-time tracking. The banks instantly verify the receipt and disburses loan within 5 minutes, eliminating the delays and paperwork. Blockchain secures the process, preventing fraud, duplicate receipt, or unauthorized lending. After 2 to 3 months, when market prices are favorable, the farmers can sell their crops digitally through our marketplace, ensuring the best price without the middleman intervention. So earlier, the farmer had to wait up to 94 days to receive WHR finance, but with World's digital platform, now this takes 0 days. This system benefits everyone involved. The farmers avoid distress sales, earn higher incomes and faster finance, while banks reduce the lending risk, speed up processes, and lower operational cost. Our platform empowers small farmers with secure storage, low digital loans, and direct market access, boosting incomes by 25 to 40% while reducing distress sales and grain wastage. This drives economic growth, food security, and financial inclusion, aligning with the key UN Sustainable Development Goals. So building on our success to WHR Finance, we have also developed a blockchain-based pre-harvest securitization protocol in collaboration with World Bank and IFC, ensuring security and transparency. Through this model, banks provide pre-harvest loans, which are then securitized and refinanced by global investors, allowing lenders to expand credit availability without liquidity constraints. This system helps farmers to get funding even before they start planting. The farmers apply for loans on the pre-harvested crop receipt, which is not even planted yet. We have already begun our operations in Kenya, partnering with 5 warehouses, 2 processing mills, and 3 CBOs, securing in-principle approvals from 3 lenders. With product development ongoing, we have engaged over 6,000 farmers through the help of CBOs and self-help groups. And over the next 12 months, we are expanding to Rwanda, Tanzania, and Nigeria with a goal of disbursing $5 million in loans. I've kept my presentation very short and concise so that I can take up the questions and queries you guys have. And if you want to go through any other parts of the presentation for the process flow or any other queries that you have, so that I can walk you through. Thank you very much. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vishali. What an insightful and what an innovative approach. I'm actually I'm leading a project in Madagascar which looks at the potential of blockchain technology to enable the electronic voucher system there. So I have a lot of questions. Maybe I want to learn more about the IFC collaboration later on. So let me not.
Yeah, sure. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn.
Yes, please. So thank you again for this compelling presentation. At this moment, I want to help us all synthesize and reflect on what we've heard, but we can continue on the chat line questions and answers, but we will also have a Q&A. But I want to invite my colleague from IFC, Tanim Ahad. He's an operations officer at IFC, and he leads IFC's advisory engagements focusing on Kenya, Somalia, Namibia, and Lesotho. He has over 20 years of experience at IFC and has extensive expertise in warehouse receipt systems, agribusiness, digital transformation, and investment climate reforms across multiple regions. And his work spans also both policy and implementation, so he can offer a unique perspective on the enabling environment for agriculture finance. So I'm eager to hear your reflections on today's presentation, Tanim. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Jihai. I hope you can hear me. Great, super. No, thanks a lot for inviting me to first of all witness 3 exciting, innovative approaches to solving what we call is at the core of it, the beneficiary is the farmers. Really that's what we are trying to solve for the farmers. Some of the issues around market access, access to finance, and really I think I was quite pleased to see how they bring in some of the common themes around market access and access to finance, some of the issues around post-harvest losses and other challenges that the farmers face in terms of financial exclusion. So I think first of all, kudos to all the three presenters and the work that you have been doing in India and in Kenya. Maybe I will just start by, in the order of the presentations, to say I think the DGV platform on B2B to farmer, I think is something that sounds like it can be scalable and replicable, not just in the dairy value chain in the countries that we work in as World Bank and IFC as the World Bank Group, but perhaps there is an opportunity for us to also explore if some of these the lessons learned in terms of how the milk processor, payment to market collection point and to the farmer, all of that can be extended to other value chains. And I'm currently based in Kenya, where we have been working on the warehouse receipt system as one of IFC's advisory engagement. We find that when we worked with Kizito and Agribora on the maize value chain, and congratulations to him and his team on launching one of the first privately licensed warehouses in Kenya that is linked to warehouse receipting system. We find that for maize farmers, that was the first pilot that was launched with Agribora. We realized that some of the elements of what has been learned through DGV can also be replicated in other value chains like maize or perhaps even other priority value chains in Kenya. So one reflection point is that regardless of the value chain that we are talking about, I think there is clearly some lessons to be learned. The other element which came out quite strongly is the issue around standards, and I think what was mentioned by DGV was that the healthy animals and then how you are assessing the quality of the milk and the wine. I think when we look at issues around standards in terms of storage, that remains one of the key issues and concern, particularly for farmers who bring in their commodities in a certified warehouse. We find that there are different grades of commodities, and that needs to be really assessed and based on some of the standards for export has to be complied with. So all of that, I think, comes within the context whereby we want to make sure that food safety and standards are ensured. I think the other aspect which was quite exciting for me to see for DGV, I think, is the fact that how you address the issue of milk procurement, which was originally an issue, and then you address the gaps within the ecosystem that were being faced by the processors and lenders, and of course the payment solution. I think you have actually been someone who has been pioneering on the payment solution side for the dairy. But again, I would say that the platform has potential for scalability in other value chains, of course, but also in other jurisdictions in Africa. When we look at Agribora, I think originally this was actually a bank-supported AgTech, and I'm sure my colleague Beryl would attest to that under the previous World Bank engagement and also under the current National Agriculture Value Chain Development Project in Kenya, there has been quite a bit of support being provided to make the AgTechs more ready and how do you help them grow. And when we engage with the World Bank from IFC side, we realize that there has been a wealth of knowledge already being built in Kenya on the AgTech ecosystem. And then in consultation with the agriculture team of the World Bank, we realized that one of the AgTech that we could potentially work with was Agribora, and that's how We engaged with them towards sometime in second half of last year, and then when they expressed their interest to be in a segment that they were not originally in, which was the Agri-Gala, right? The market access and the storage through a warehouse. And that's something that they were trying to become more end-to-end. Yeah, they were already doing Agri-Copa, the financing solutions, the credit scoring, all of that was already there. But then when it comes to market access is one of the areas that was identified as a gap. And then through the IFC advisory project in Kenya on warehouse receipt system, we basically collaborated on the pilot that was launched in December. I think what IFC, our interest and our role as we see in this one is that post-harvest loss in Kenya is a big challenge, particularly for staple commodities like maize, 30 to 40%. In some instances, even 50% in some commodities are lost due to post-harvest. And this is one of the solutions on warehouse receipt that can be used to see that the farmers are not only getting fair price for their commodities, but also the fact that Kenya imports commodities like maize, and yet you could have probably offset that issue of import had Kenya actually addressed the issue of post-harvest loss management. So we saw that DFS and the solutions that Agri-Bora is providing can really help towards addressing some of the issue around post-harvest loss and farmer income and livelihood improvement. The final presentation for WHRL, I think this one is something that we have not been directly involved with, but we have been in touch with the team to see how the commodity tokenization, tokenized crop receipt, which has been already been proven to be successful in India, and how do we then roll it out in Africa and in Kenya. I think one of the key benefits that we see, and clearly this is an area where we need some further discussion, is around that when you have a farmer that had to wait previously 94 days, and now farmer can get a loan within the same day as was being presented. I think to me that's a game changer for some of the countries, including in Kenya, because of the fact that even after, let's say, a farmer has sometimes been let's say, even after they have been assessed and they have gone through the whole process, we find that the banks, of course, need a number of assurances. Warehouse receipt is a collateral that can be used, but banks really want to do a lot of KYC, and it will be interesting to hear from WHRL how did you get to the point whereby you were able to reduce those number of days, because this still remains an issue for new clients for banks, and when we know that in Kenya about 33 to 4% of the entire lending portfolio is agri lending. So there's a lot that can be done in agri-finance space, and I think your solution will go a long way in building trust. I think one of the common theme that I've realized across all three solutions is that building trust among farmers is key. From our experience also working to the warehouse receipt system with Agri-Bora and with other partners, is that many times the farmers, they would, before they engage, there is a lot of capacity building sensitization that is needed, not just on the financial product, but just to convince them why this is beneficial for them financially. And why would they, for example, in the case of warehouse receipt, why would they keep their maize or any of the other commodities in a certified warehouse and not in their household, right? And so post-harvest loss management, but also building trust of farmers. These are some of the compelling arguments that we have been able to share with them, and gradually, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Getting smallholders on board, at least that has been our experience. And the ecosystem has been quite complex in some of the countries we work, whereby you see it's the farmers as the depositors, then you have the processors, the millers, and also as off-takers, of course, the regulators, you have the central bank, you have the warehouse receipt regulatory authorities, and the government at the national and the county level or state level. So you have different complexities when it comes to different value chains. But I think overall, the technology as it has been developed, it seems quite promising in all three cases. But then, how do you get to the point where technology can be used to onboard farmers, to build trust, and then solve some of the issues around access to credit, access to market. So each of these presentations have looked at the problem statements from different perspectives, but I think they are all, I think when it comes to solutions, I think they're all trying to solve some of the similar types of problems as I've mentioned earlier. So I think overall, I would say that these are reflections on what has been presented, and then quite happy to see how your products evolve as you roll it out in markets, in other markets. So for Kizito, as you roll out in different locations in Kenya and as well as elsewhere, I know you're trying to explore, and then for DGV, if you're exploring in other markets too, and the same for WHRRL. You had mentioned about your target in Kenya to reach certain numbers, if I'm not mistaken. So how are you going to reach those 5 million loan target and the partners you're working with? And what are some of the lessons learned as you are engaging with the actors on the blockchain technology? It sounds very exciting, and yet it will have to be tested in the local context. So we'll be quite keen to hear from you what your journey has been so far in testing the product in other markets. Let me stop there and pass on to you.
Thank you so much, Tani. With that, I want to invite my colleague Beryl, our digital guru in Kenya. Without her, we don't have 1 million farmer platform. We don't have all these amazing cohorts in Kenya disrupting the agriculture and working with the World Bank to further disrupt. For her to actually then lead us the discussion and Q&A session. So Beryl, please lead. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, Jihe. I also want to thank the three panelists we've had and Tanim, the discussants, on giving us insights. I'm sure the participants have a lot of questions. I'd ask that you still post your questions on the chat function so that you can be able to capture them. We will ask the panelists or the AgTechs to actually react on the chat, but we'll also collate all this and share with you. We will move into the question and answer session. I will want to start with the first discussant, DGV. I have 3 sets of questions for you and ask that you take 3 minutes to answer them as well. So my first question, again, I'm picking these questions from the chat. What are there any key characteristics of a market throughout the value chain that make it more attractive and or successful on your platform or on your model? That's the first question. The participants would also like to know more about the practical use of your ULI. That brought out a lot of side questions. I'm hoping that you can maybe spend a minute to share more on the ULI that you are currently using. And then on the third question, are there any critical enablers that make your solution and business model to be more on the dairy value chain? And can you scale it to additional other African countries, something like that? And can it be rolled out in additional commodities? So we'll start with you, DGV, and you have an estimate 3 to 4 minutes max. Cool. Try and unmute yourself now.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Beryl. Those are very, 4 different questions to be fitted in 3 minutes. But I will try, and I understand the logic of questions. So in short, is DGV replicable across other geographies? Very much. Anywhere where a SMF, small and marginal farmer ecosystem exists, whether it's small and marginal farmers or medium range as well, as long as there is a dearth of need for digital financial services, insurance, and as long as we have some sort of mechanism to work on the digital footprint of the farmer on the other side, we should be able to get the both ends to meet using our platforms. So yes, very much replicable, especially in any of the developing countries and Africa especially. If you look at the DGV model, the dairy model per se, every dairy heavy country or where the dairy forms a critical part of their disposable income, it would be a very apt model. What does it take for us to scale to those countries? I think I don't have a straight answer to it, but definitely there should be interest from the dairy federations, if it's a cooperative side or some large dairy processor, to help their catchment area farmers. That would be one set of stakeholders. The other set of stakeholders would be, of course, the banks and the insurance in the countries, and their ability or their need to address the needs of the segment. If these two exist, then we can play a bridging role there. I think the most of the questions were circling around that, and of course you asked for ULI. So ULI is a new initiative of the Reserve Bank of India itself through its subsidiary Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub. Rajesh Bansal leads it. So basically, ULI is like a middle layer which works between all kinds of lenders in India. And we have a plethora of different kinds of lenders. You have within banks, various kinds. You have a scheduled commercial bank, a regional rural bank, a cooperative bank, and then you have NBFC. So all kinds of different kinds of lenders on one side. And on the other side are all the innovative data providers. So India is now moving from, of course, collateral-based lending to cash flow-based lending. And within cash flow-based lending, how can you further improve the scorecard of the farmer or the eligibility of the farmer by looking at other data points, which is what ULI connects to. Like in our case, we pipe in all the digital footprints of the dairy farmer, which various banks of India consume if they have to do a dairy loan. In many cases, DGV exists both on the bank side as well as on the dairy processor side. So that's what ULI is trying to address, in addition to the other forms of data points which already are present.
Thank you for your insights. I'll move to Kizito. Kizito, we have two sets of questions for you. Are you value chain centric? And how do you prevent hoarding of commodities in the different stores that you have? What are the constraints you've seen to scale? Are you able to scale? And how can they it faster? Kizito?
Thanks, Beryl. Can you repeat the last question? I didn't get you on that. The fourth.
How can the ecosystem help you scale up faster?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think in terms of value chain, we have been very strategic in focusing on basically grains. So talking about maize, soybean, sunflower, sorghum as the main value chains. Why? Because one, this really contributes strongly to the food security of the country, and many smallholder farmers practice farming for mainly these commodities. It also comes from the backdrop of the 1 Million Farmer Initiative, with the support that we had with the county governments, where there was a lot of strategic drive to making sure that farmers across these value chains become easily accessible by different partners of the sector. So we would want to strengthen our business around those value chains, because we see the opportunity for structured commodity trading that provides this commodity financing for commodities that are not very perishable. I think we have seen examples of where horticultural crops would also go through a warehouse receipt system, but the quality parameters around that are just much larger. So we focus on cereals. The challenge with hoarding is currently at the farm gate. So most of these farmers are keeping their maize behind the houses at their farms, because they can see it, they can see the asset, but it's not really an asset at that point. That's where the rodents come in, start eating into it. That's when the rain comes and hits, and then the aflatoxin increases. So the hoarding is happening right now, and we see this as we try to discuss with farmers, convincing them to bring the products to licensed warehouses, where they show us where the maize is already lying today. And it's really it's a process for helping them to move them to a licensed warehouse. And I think hoarding goes together with the challenge of post-harvest losses. So I think the first stage for us is to make sure that we build the capacity and awareness of farmers around storing their commodities in proper warehouses, just to first of all limit that impact of post-harvest losses. Then the second point around hoarding is really focusing on price discovery. And this is now where, for Kenya, for example, we also have a very nascent commodity trading platform, so COMEX, where we are seeing that price discovery will actually provide an incentive for traders and farmers to basically have a better awareness of the price movements, and then actually not really go much into the speculation, but be able to offset that quite fast. And that is why having a warehouse receipt finance would actually help you to avoid that situation of having maize being hoarded in the warehouses, and nobody wants to sell, because we have seen the numbers and we see that it's really a cycle. The play between harvest within Uganda, Tanzania, Zambia, Kenya helps you see the cycles, and helping farmers really know, okay, it's my time to release my goods, because I'm either harvesting the next round, or the prices are actually not going to get any better. But I think there the financing will enable that visibility, and then that price discovery is a strong market force to provide that visibility to farmers. In terms of scale, wow, I think there we are currently overwhelmed by that opportunity, right? And I think these are some of the first mover advantages that we see as Agribora, really driving that from a market perspective. And so our scale of actually being able to expand AgriGala is not just Kenya. It's really looking at immediately East African market, and then really looking at how you can be able to expand this, one, to diversify the products, and also to de-risk yourself as a business, right? So I think when we talk about 3%, 4% financing going to farmers and 40% post-harvest losses, we can't do it alone, right? The opportunity for this business is just huge. And we are okay, we just need to be able to say, okay, this is what we can manage, and this is what we want to scale and show the impact. But that is also where the component of ecosystem comes in, right? Because Agribora cannot do this alone. It's great that we have had the support, from the onset of the 1 million farmer platform with the with Calro and with the county governments, which has really given us a solid bedrock to be able to grow this. So the support of government has been important. It is not by coincidence that our first warehouse is in Uasin Gishu. That was one of the county governments that signed with us an MOU during the 1 million farmer platform, right? So you actually see how this ecosystem actually helps us as entrepreneurs then grow and then scale, and being very confident about it. I think where we need to work a bit faster is what Vaishali was talking about, moving from the 90-day approval process to within seconds, and that's going to be a game changer. So I think for the Kenyan ecosystem, we really need to target our approach to enabling that ecosystem thrive. Banks are there, they are the Goliaths in the space, they have a very huge asset class, but our experience has been the challenge of really working with these kind of institutions to run at the speed that we as entrepreneurs are trying to run has been a challenge, which needs to be addressed from a systemic perspective, so that really we can get the farmer who brings their maize today to the warehouse is walking out with financing in their bank account as they leave, because they also need to go and reinvest. So I think that ecosystem approach, bringing in government and bringing in the private sector finance, is something that will help us catalyze how we can scale this, not just as Agribora, but also all the other partners who would come in to try and solve this problem, Beryl.
Thank you. Excited to hear that we really got to get you grounded, and now you're ready to scale from the 1 million farmers platform. Vishali, you're next. Hoping you can take 2 to 3 minutes as well. We are very interested in the $5 million you have, Vishali. Is the money for the warehouse operators, or the money is for the farmers? A question for you. The second question is, what has been your challenges settling in Kenya? I know you want to scale into Rwanda and Ethiopia, but do you have a good footing enough in Kenya, learnings documented before you scale into the rest of the East Africa region? And then maybe if you have an extra 30 minutes, you can also talk to us about your experience on hoarding of products before they get to the warehouse. Over to you, Vishali.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So first of all, I think there's some confusion about the $5 million. So it is actually our target for disbursement of loan to the farmers over the next 1 year, with the help of the financial institutions we have partnered with. So the loan will be facilitated through the lenders we have partnered with, and it will be over the 1 year, while we gradually expand to other parts of Kenya. And we started this journey from Kenya, and we are planning to go to Tanzania, Rwanda, etc., because we were supported by IntelliCap India for our expansion, and they had these 4 regions which were given to us for the expansion. So we selected Kenya as our first step, and then going forward, we'll build our base in the other 3 regions, going forward with the other regions of Africa as well. So we didn't had like the target in our mind as such. We were given those 4 target countries, and we got to select from those 4 countries which one we would go forward with first, as we were supported by the government and the IntelliCap for the expansion. So that is that. As well, we are having good response in Kenya, as like right now we have partnered with 5 warehouses already, 2 processing milk, and self-help groups as well, 3 lenders for, of course, the lending part, because we are not the NBFCs. We will be facilitating the loans through our lending partners, and we have also connected to 6,000 farmers so far, and we are also are part of many programs that are taking part in Africa. Our founder is attending one of it, which is this Sankalp Africa Summit right now taking place in Nairobi, Kenya. So yes, maybe we'll get some possible good leads and outcomes, partnerships from that event. Fingers crossed for us. I hope we get some good partnership collaboration opportunities and government support as well, because as Kizito said, I would like to build on it. In India, we were successful. We were like successful in building that platform and reaching those numbers because we were supported by the government. We were recognized, we were supported by the government, and because we were supported by the government, the private institutions had a trust on us. That being a startup, being a private agency, they had a trust that, okay, so government is supporting this organization, so yes, that's trustworthy. So the lenders automatically, they have a faith, they have a trust that, okay, so there's some new technology that the government is promoting, so let's try it. So that's how the discussions go on with the private lenders, because we are being the platform here who is bringing together banks, farmers, and lenders all together. And the trust in a new technology is something that we have to, we have to earn, and it takes time for people to adapt to a new technology that's fast, that's not easy to understand. So yes, it's a key thing that we build the trust and faith with the government first, so that we get some sort of support with the government, and then bringing on to the more collaborations we have with the lenders as well.
Okay. One last question before I hand over to Jihe. Sorry, Jihe. Vishali, having had Tanim talk about the warehouse receipting system, and you've had Agribora Kizito talk about the model, why are you not working with the local AgTechs and the local partners to scale? What can we do to help you facilitate the same?
So we are we are moving forward and taking help of local participants as well. We are trying to connect to local self-help groups that can aware the farmers and bring us closer to the ground level and see what's actually the problem is, and the hoarding problem. So when we started in India, it was we started with government warehousing. The people there were already aware about the local warehouses present in their locality. So they somehow had an idea that they have to store this commodity in warehouses so that it doesn't go to waste. We just came in and brought another perspective to it, that if you're storing these grains in our warehouses, it can be financed. So you don't need to like sell immediately and avoid distress sales. So that's how we are trying to work in Kenya as well. Of course, every country has their own challenges and their own frameworks and models to work through. But we are trying to solve this problem by connecting to local self-help groups and CBOs to try to understand what the idea of warehousing and storage is in Kenya, and we are trying to regulate this and trying to move forward with it with our collaborations with government and other private entities.
Thank you. Gia, I'll hand over back to you, and I'm sorry we're running out of time. Thank you. Thank you, Vishali.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for our speakers for this wonderful and insightful presentation, and also your very clear answer responses. I know that it's not maybe possible to answer this question with the time limits, and I'm sure you have so many more ideas to share with us, but there is always this time to change, right? Yeah, so I think thank you so much for starting with this statements, which is wonderful opportunities for us to network and share ideas and really get exciting ideas for us to work on. I think my takeaway today is that I really like the comments Shana or Marshali on the trust that is earned and which is an attractive asset now it gives us a reminder as to what our work is ultimately this economy to grow. Because we all work in like traditional banking infrastructure is built to conserve actively and able to create things for financial inclusion, which benefit and market access. So it's very demonstrating vision and session. And thank you, Tani, for a wonderful synthesis of expectations and more also the unique perspective coming from the AFC. We need to work better together also, right? So as we I want you all consider how this insights our church
Hi, Ji. Hi, sorry, can't hear you very well. I don't know if it's just me or others are having a problem.
Sorry, nothing has changed in my side.
It's not audible to me as well. I thought it's my internet issue.
Sorry, what's in now?
I think GI it's some garble. I guess the mic is not
Some
working
background noise, yeah. I thought it's my internet issue, but now that you've pointed it out, yes.
Yeah, sorry. What's going on? Nothing has changed in my side. Your church stuff with
Yeah, I think it's the same issue again. Yeah. Now it's starting coming to me as well.
sorry. Sorry, maybe it's still eating. To see you next time.
Maybe Beryl, you would like to conclude? I think the issue is not the same. Yeah.
I was going to ask Jihe, try again, we see if we can hear you.
Very well. And why it's not working.
No, Sunil, she's still off, right?
Yes, her voice is not clear yet. Maybe Beryl, you would like to take it forward.
Okay, I'm really sorry, Jihe. Can I go ahead and close?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone who's joined our webinar today, especially our panelists and discussants for joining us and for all those who stayed. I know we are 4 minutes over time. We are happy to do this again and take the conversations forward. Talk about the ULI, it was new. We can take it up on another webinar. Again, learn from Vishali and Kizito on their scale and planning to scale, and seeing how best maybe IFC can help the startups scale up and be more productive in the future. Special gratitude to UCNL for being a great co-host, but more so Jihe and Pamesh for taking the lead and enabling us to have this conversation with the rest of the team. Kindly note that this session was recorded and it will be shared with all the participants who joined us today. We will email the presentations as well, maybe in another 3 to 4 days once we've collated everything. And we are happy to do this again in the near future. Feel free to reach out to the DD team on the chat. You'll get our email. If you feel that there's an AgTech out there or a solution out there that we should maybe showcase, there was a great suggestion about bringing all this together in one place, maybe in a global innovation hub, and it's something that the bank can think about. That said, I'd like to wish everyone a very great evening and a good day. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.